Shannon asked me to say a few personal things. Because I'm a lifelong Rhode Islander, so you can go from my accent, right? And parks are important places. I mean, you hear about the health benefits, the obvious cardiovascular health benefits of getting out and hiking or canoeing. But there's a lot more to it. Turns out that time in nature really helps people with concentration, just clearing their mind. People who work near places where they can go for a hike, for near their work, it really helps with just thinking and clearing the mind. But also the immune system. Apparently, being out in nature helps people be much healthier. And there's all kinds of studies, and you can go on to Google and find that out. I mean, the Japanese do this thing called forest bathing. Of course, they keep the clothes on, I imagine. But it's just getting out in nature and absorbing all that. And so it becomes a very helpful kind of thing. In my own experience, I grew up in the Edgewood part of Cranston. Roger Williams Park was my big backyard. That was where all our friends, and we had a lot of big families back in the 60s and 70s, where we rode our bikes and played touch football. I knew every nook and cranny of Roger Williams Park, and fishing in the pond and that kind of thing. And back in those days, the park was not all in that great a shape, but it was still a place to get out and explore. And the thing is that in 2006, an author by the name of Richard Louv talked about nature deficit disorder in his book, The Last Child in the Woods, about how kids just don't do that anymore. They don't get out and explore. Their lives are just so rigid, either through organized sports or tied to the internet. When I was in high school, I really wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but I kind of liked being outdoors, so I joined up with a group called the Youth Conservation Corps, and it was working with DEM for the summer, and little did I know it was the Bay Islands Park System that was had just been thought about and just being installed. So as a high school student, it was getting out and getting in a boat out in Narragansett Bay to Dutch Island and Prudence Island and Hope, and to do some cleanup, establish some picnic tables and some trails and that kind of thing, and that really changed my whole trajectory, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So I went to URI and studied forestry. And then one of the early jobs right out of that was I hooked up a seasonal job to wear this uniform over at Colt Park, being a ranger naturalist. The idea back then was people's interactions with DEM was usually someone was in trouble, not doing what they're supposed to do, but the naturalist program was to have a person wearing the badge, the uniform, to talk about why you might not want to shellfish there, or why it might not be a good idea to do such and such. But we had an aquarium in the Nature Shack, and I just could not believe the numbers of people who came up on the weekends, the families and the picnics, but also during the week where the Boys and Girls Club or the local Bristol YMCA would come, and that place was crowded. And that was in the good old days when maybe it wasn't as crowded and DEM had a heck of a lot more staff, but I was kind of intimidated by how many people came to Colt Park. And we also did events at Brenton Point, and then later on the fall out at Prudence Island, at the park on the south. But I'll tell you, it was really something else. Now, at Audubon, what we do is that we try to get kids to come out and learn about nature so that they become good environmental citizens. But one of the things that we do is that we will use our own refuges. And I understand about maintenance and upkeep. We have to manage 8,000 acres ourselves, but not with the volume of people that you have to deal with. But we get kids out in nature, and what we're trying to do is, especially with city schools, a lot of the kids in the city schools, their proficiency in science and math is really very low. But we have found that going out and on field trips, whether it's a city park, a state park, one of our refuges, and getting kids to learn about a math problem or a little bit about science and have that aha moment, okay, when they're out on a trail or by a pond or watching something go down a stream. And we've really gotten kids, and we proved this with the Pawtucket schools since 2004. We've been doing this. Kids' proficiencies go from about 15% to about 30%, closer to the state average. And it really is those aha moments where kids can concentrate, have fun, get engaged, and hands-on. When I read the recent strategic plan and the report, I was actually quite shocked at how few resources DEM has for its parks these days. It's really important, I think, for people because as a population grows, the needs, with more kids and people have such structured, busy lives. We need our parks every more. They have to be fresh and inviting and not scary. And I really admire your vision for the future. So we're all in. Thanks.